In a world that is robbing dudes of their dudeness, three normal, everyday, middle-aged dudes are taking a stand for dudes everywhere. Join us as we talk about life as a dude in today's world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Dudefinity Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to all things dude. My name is Sterling, and joining me, as always, Guinness World Record holder for the largest collection of rubber ducks, Jordan.
I really appreciate you having me today. Just wanted to talk about my duck collection, man. I think it's like something like 2,412 that are in the large range. And when I say large, I'm talking 4 or 5 feet tall. Kind of wild. I really appreciated when we first met, you know, at the convention last year, the World Duck Convention. It was great.
World Rubber Duck
I couldn't
Convention.
believe, dude. I was impressed. So don't sell yourself short. I was impressed with that breath holding contest you did. You really went underwater and held your breath for 2.5 minutes, man. That's Navy SEALs.
So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about a little thing called motivation. How does one stay motivated? What motivates you? How can you keep your motivation after you achieve something that you've been working towards?
You know,
But
go ahead.
I want to talk about a little something.
Let's talk about it.
I have a question for you.
I might have an answer for you.
All right. Is this New England Patriots team a dynasty? Am I putting the cart before the horse? Am I putting the cart 4 miles before the horse? Is there even a horse?
Dude, I don't want to go that far.
If a horse falls in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, does it neigh?
Maybe. Maybe. It depends on if it was dead before it fell. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know, man. That's such a tough question. There's a lot of parallels to the very beginning of the last, situation with Bill and Brady. I think it's really impressive, and it's not complicated what they've done. They've put an emphasis on defense. They went out, they got a quarterback that was similar in stature to, the quarterback that can stay in the pocket and move around well. They got a guy who's smart, has a quick release. They drafted his left tackle, which is the most important position in football, not named quarterback, in my opinion. So they're protecting his blind side. They're a year apart in the league in terms of time. So I feel like they've covered a lot of bases. And then, by the way, they go out, they rebring in Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is back working with Drake on the things that made Brady great. I'm not saying, listen, I want to be the first one to say, I'm not saying that Drake May is Tom Brady. But Colin Cowher
makes sense. His name is Drake May.
I get it. But Colin Cowher said it the other day, and it really just kind of struck me, the parallels in it. And it was Mike Vrabel is he's a much more player-friendly coach version of Belichick, and Drake May is a more athletic, mobile version of Tom Brady. What that means, I don't know. But I got to give it to Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft, man. This starts with them. Very clearly, like everybody talks, is it Bill, is it Brady? They're great at building partnerships. And I mean, you look at what we have right now, I'm excited for the future, man. I mean, everybody talks and knocks us about strength of schedule and kind of who we've played in our division and everything else. Problem is, when you look at strength of schedule, you have teams like the Bills who were predicted to be a top echelon team in the AFC, if not in the league, and a possible Super Bowl contender. They're 3 games behind New England, and New England's beaten them once. All I can say is strength of schedule doesn't weigh heavily with me when I look at a team. It's 1 week at a time.
Okay. I mean, they have had the easiest schedule so far.
Mm-hmm.
And of the teams that have had, 11 wins and the first to 11 wins in a season and have won a Super Bowl, they have the easiest schedule out of those teams as well.
100%. But I mean, what are they basing the schedule on? Are they basing it on the start of the season? Or are they basing it on the win? You know what I mean? Because if you look at where it started at the beginning of the season, the Bengals were supposed to be good, the Bills were supposed to be good, the Bucks were decent. They were a measuring stick for us. We went down to Tampa and handled our business. We handled our business in Buffalo. So listen, winning games in the NFL is tough. You know, if the NFL wasn't tough, it wouldn't be an 18-game season. It'd be an 82-game season, or a 100-game season. It's not. I mean, it's tough, and it takes a lot to win games, and we're finding ways to win in all three levels of our team. We are 1 week at a time, man. To be quite honest, in a lot of ways, I was kind of hoping the Giants would upset us the other night just to go into the bye week with a little hunger under our belt. But this team also stays very humble, which is, a good thing too. So I don't think we're putting a cart before the horse, as as you say. But I do think that this is a team that's going to compete together for a long time, and I'm really excited to see football back in New England and winning football.
So on another note, I want to bring up a little something that we discussed last week. Or no, it wasn't last week. It's 2 weeks ago.
You're going to use my words
against
me.
You and I had a conversation.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to use both of our words against it. This is a team, buddy.
Really appreciate togetherness.
So together, we're going down together. So a couple of weeks ago, we were discussing the Boston Celtics.
Oh boy,
and we were discussing. We both agreed on this. We both said it, that Jaylen Brown cannot be the best player on a championship team. You brought up the turnovers. I, being a bit of a Jaylen Brown fan, I think he's highly underrated. But, even I said, I'm going to expect more turnovers because his usage is up. But the turnovers are down. He's 7th in the league in scoring. He's efficient. His numbers and everything have gone up. Boston is beating teams that I would have said they wouldn't have beaten. I think the only slip up that they had was against Minnesota, and that was a tight game. And they beat New York in Boston. Jaylen put up 42. So I think we owe a bit of a public apology.
I don't think we just owe a public apology. I think we just need to talk about it for a minute. Listen, the thing is when that statement was made by you and I, that statement was predicated on what we thought the season would look like, and that was a lot of development for younger players and a lot of emphasis on maybe saving Jaylen. Turns out that's not the case. They want to win games, and they're going to go out and they're going to try to win them every night. And here's the thing, man. I genuinely think, after looking at the landscape in the East, we will probably end, if we stay what we're doing right now, a 4th or 5th seed in the East this year. I don't think that we're a championship caliber team, so to speak, as we stand on our roster right now. I think there's one thing that could shore that up, even without Tatum being in the lineup, and that's getting the right big. I tell you, I struggle with the Celtics because of Joe Mazzulla, if I'm being quite honest with you. No, because Jaylen's great. Jaylen's great, and he's doing wonderful, right? And his turnovers are going down, and he's doing the right thing. But, dude, I don't know if you know this. Last year, we took 49 threes a game. This year, we're taking about 36, and we're taking more twos. And so, which is awesome, which is what we've always wanted to see for a balance. That's not a Joe Mazzulla thing. That is a necessity of the offense thing. We were shooting so poor to start the season. No, dude, literally when we started the season, we were shooting the same averages. And now we're down, and now we've reduced it because we couldn't hit them. We were shooting as many threes, and we were in last place in the league for making them. And so we're kind of, and it's because Tatum's not on the court. I get that. It's because Tatum's not on the court. He draws the double teams. But what's happening is Jaylen is actually collapsing a defense a little better and looking at that weak side, and we're getting a lot of open 2 looks. So for me, one of the things that I really want the Boston Celtics to do, I think it would be really smart to pay attention to the landscape of the NBA right now. The landscape is, the Clippers are going to get blown up. Nobody wants to play for him. They're so disgruntled. Ty Lue's going to get fired. Chris Paul, what they did to him was dirty. They're in for a few-year run of just a mess. Okay, so I would imagine they're getting blown up. The Bucks are going to get blown up. Man, I would love to see us land either like a Bobby Portis, a Brooke Lopez, or heck, Pipe Man's dream, Zubac. Zubac for Sam Hauser would be incredible on this Boston Celtics team. It would round everything out for what we need. It would put Kata where he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could go deep.
Your hate of Joe Mazzulla is like it's
I don't
almost
hate Joe
genetic at
Mazzulla.
this
I
point.
don't hate Joe Mazzulla. I just think Joe Mazzulla is a professional babysitter. Like,
I'm gonna
dude, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about Joe Mazzulla. Let me ask you a question. God's honest truth. If Joe Mazzulla was coaching against Doc Rivers, would he outcoach him?
Listen, I'm not
pure basketball. Would he outcoach him?
I don't think it depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about planning over after
putting
timeout?
Timeout,
we're gonna say,
putting guys in the best position to hit shots, running offensive sets.
Ability, as far as his, so there is more than just making an out of bounds play on a whiteboard when it comes to coaching. So, and you know that. So he is not as good of an in-game adjustment X's and O's guy as he's probably in the lower half of the league. If I had
I'm going to make a statement. Joe Mazzulla in the 90s would have got out-coached at one point in the 90s, probably like 95, 96. He probably would have got out-coached by everybody he went up against. And the only reason I say that is because they were basketball purists. There was a half-court game. Joe Mazzulla is a terrible half-court game coach.
So here's the thing, though.
Simple curl screens, where are those? We got shooters.
So here's the thing. What you said was that Joe Mazzulla, it's a necessity thing. Well, if he was that bad of a coach, he would have just, held the line and continued the offense in the direction that it was going. I don't think
this was a Joe Mazzulla adjustment. I think we were just shooting so bad and we were tired of winning, and I think it was Jaylen Brown.
Every adjustment is going to end up being a Joe Mazzulla.
I think it's a Brad Stevens adjustment.
I don't think so. I think listen, I agree with you that he's not a fantastic coach. I think he's not as bad as you try.
He's a terrible coach. That's like saying Ty Lue actually coached the Cavaliers to a championship. He was a terrible coach. He didn't coach them. He just happened to be the professional babysitter. And guess what? It wound up with her ending the relationship. If Joe Mazzulla stays the coach, he will not be able to handle.
Ty Lue has had coaching jobs in other teams. So obviously somebody must think he at least somewhat knows what he's doing.
Well, they might think he does. He might be a good salesman. Look at the Clippers. He's about to be out there. They are a train wreck. A train wreck on that talented team.
Well,
it's an injury talented team, but it's
you've got to have every star align across the entire universe to get everybody on that team healthy at the same time.
But come on, man,
Kawhi Leonard actually want to play basketball, and
when Jason Tatum comes back, I don't think that Joe Mazzulla is the guy that can handle navigating Jason Tatum taking that front row seat again and Jaylen Brown backing off. I
don't know if that's even going to have to be a thing. I'm going to be honest with you. We don't know how Tatum is going to come back.
I know. That's why we also should be making trades and treating it like we're going to play without him going forward.
Well, you can only do that so much. You only have so much room. I don't know. Like I say, Jaylen Brown is a fantastic 3-level scorer. I think he's showing us that he can be the best player on a
It's safe to say that maybe
he's right.
It's safe to say that maybe he's a little more motivated right now to show something.
He is highly motivated.
Highly motivated. So what do you think the motivation behind him right now and his play is? What do you think it is? Is it being the guy, proving that he can be the guy on a team, or is it just winning games because he's a winner?
I think he wants to win.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
I don't necessarily think he's trying to prove anything. Well, what does he got to prove? He's
Finals
multiple-time
MVP,
All-Star, Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He's got a ring. He's not an Olympian.
Well, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's not an Olympian.
Yeah,
maybe he wants to be an Olympian. That's kind of that's still wild. Still to this day is wild to me, but whatever.
Doesn't make any sense. Top 25 basketball player in the world. You don't even take him to the Olympics.
Yeah, like I say, he's proven a lot, and he's in a good. And it's one of those things that he could be a top 10 scorer, and they could be at the bottom of the East, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to do anything for his brand, as it were. But the fact that he's a top 10 scorer and
They're winning games.
They're winning games now. I mean, they're what, 7th?
Yeah, they're behind a little bit. But I mean,
they had a rough start,
right?
And it's early. So,
but I mean, you're also adjusting to a lot of change. Porzingis is gone. Al's gone. Tatum's out. I mean, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. And the other thing is, I would imagine that there's some like we've always seen that Jalen can be outspoken, and willing to kind of speak up a little bit and kind of play with energy. I think he's having to step up and be an actual voice now, like the voice. It's not just a collective group and then Al. It's he is the locker room leader right now. Drew's gone. Drew's a huge locker room leader, him and Al.
Yeah. So my thought on this is, I think God, Tatum reminds me of a Kevin Durant. He really does. And I'll tell you why.
I think he's a better Kevin Durant myself.
It's not, and it's not. I'm not talking about the way he plays at all.
Oh, it's the head.
I'm talking about the head.
I know.
You look at that Golden State team when they won with Kevin Durant. The lead, there was no question who the guy was. It was Steph Curry. Now, he may have taken a step back a little bit offensively to let Kevin Durant do his thing, but there was no question who the guy was.
Where was the ball in the fourth quarter?
Exactly. There's no questions of who the guy was. And I think as great as Jason Tatum has been, and we've discussed this multiple times, the head, he's not the guy. He doesn't have that dog in him. He's not.
It's the thing that separates the
he's
true
never
stars
going to be
from,
that guy either.
And Jalen has more of that it in the head, but let's face it, dude, neither one of them are full alphas. And like they're not full dogs. Jalen can be at times. At times,
I think
he can be.
I'm curious to see what happens when it's all. Right now, we're seeing it for the first time that everything is on his shoulders. So we've never seen this before, not really. So before we can make that judgment, because you think about it, every season he has been 2, 3, somewhere in that ballpark. He's never been the guy. This is his first season being the guy. And it looks like
he can
right now he's stepping up to the plate and he can handle it. Let's see what he does come playoff time. That'll really be the test. But I'm thinking, I mean, how can he not be all NBA for one?
Right.
He's gonna be all NBA. He'll be an all-star, barring, anything catastrophic.
And if he lifts his assists one more game, which I think he's going to get more efficient as they establish his role. I do think so. I think, like as they begin to develop him, like, and his ability to see off ball, because that backside, he's going to draw so many double teams if he keeps doing what he's doing, that back weak side's going to be open.
The end of that Knicks game, they were throwing that double team at him, and
it burned him.
He burnt him.
Yeah.
So, like I say, this is an opportunity to see what this guy can really do, which we've never really seen. We've seen flashes of it. But
I just don't want it to pay detriment to our future either with him and Tatum.
Well, I don't think it will.
I think Tatum ideally could be his best version of himself when he comes back, because I think what's going to happen is he's studying the game, he's staying around it. I think he's going to use himself in better ways. Like, I think this might be smarter because he can't play, so he's forced to watch. And I think that'll help in positioning and different things. I think the big thing is, I think Jalen might still be your primary scorer when Tatum comes back, but you're going to see Tatum be more of a banger and get his boards, and I think you're going to see more assists, like more of a triple-double machine out of Tatum.
I think Tatum, I think he's going to lose a step. I'll just be honest with you. And it's not necessarily, because one of the hardest things about coming back from that kind of an injury is trusting the injury. That injured leg is going to hold up.
And he's already got a head problem, so.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe, maybe it works out fine. And I really do hope that he comes back 100%. But
ideally, I would like to see Tatum hit numbers. Like, I know we want him to be the scorer and everything else, and it's great. I'd rather see him be closer to like 18, 15, and 10 a night. Like, get those triple doubles and do the tangible things that don't require him to be the guy with the ball in his hand all the time. Because he's really good, but I know he can pass off it. Kind of use him like a Jokic. He's not big enough to be a Jokic, but he's fast enough and he's shot. You know what I mean? Like, kind of style of play. Like, take advantage of his abilities to see the court, because the guy is an elite passer.
He is, and I'm excited to see what they'll do
Yeah.
when he comes back. I'm excited to see how this. I'm probably more excited about this season as
Yep.
we sit right now than I was midway through the season last year.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because it's
just
fun
to see
to watch.
I want to see what these guys can do.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say something. I've been pretty hard on it, and I don't know if I've said it on here or not, but I've been pretty hard on Jordan Walsh. Worst basketball player in the NBA. At one point last year, he had the third worst player efficiency rating. Jordan Walsh is my bright spot of the Celtics so far. He's playing defense. He's efficient. He's kind of a bigger, longer Marcus Smart. He's getting under people. He's doing what he needs to do, but he's hitting better shots as well. I don't think you're going to get 25 points a night out of Jordan Walsh ever, or even 15.
No.
But I think, establishing a Tony Allen ball hawk kind of role that can put up, 15 points every once in a while, I love it. I think it's great development.
All right, so there was one other thing before we get into motivation I wanted to talk to you about, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. I don't know. Have you seen? Now, we haven't discussed this, but I'm a pretty big car guy, and have you seen?
Are you?
Yeah.
Have
you seen two big things? The first thing is, have you seen General Motors, their plan for their technology packages in their cars moving forward? I think it's like a 3-year plan, starts in like 2028 or something like that. Have you seen what their plan is?
One thing we haven't discussed, I'm not a big car guy, so no, I have not.
All right. So do you know what they did? I assume you don't know what they did with their EVs then, when it comes to like technology. Okay.
No.
So basically General Motors,
and if I was paying attention to cars, I would put a plug-in for Ford, so I don't even want to talk about General Motors. But
so General Motors is gone with their EVs. They removed Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in favor of their own bespoke app system for their cars. So their plan by it sounds like 2028 is to remove Apple CarPlay and Android Auto from their cars entirely. And I think it was Consumer Reports or somebody did a survey that said about 40-ish% of vehicle purchasers would choose not to buy a specific car based on whether it had Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So I'm just thinking to myself, say General Motors is probably, I'm going to guess, somewhere about 15-ish, 20-ish, somewhere in that ballpark market share in the U.S. And now you're going to take 40% of that away. But in looking at it, I go, okay, well, why would you do that? Well, what can you do if you don't have Apple CarPlay in your car? What can you do? You can start charging people for. You can charge people for monthly subscriptions.
So we're gonna
use those services,
dude. We're gonna have a Lyft in our vehicles, a self-driving vehicle that we got to pay to drive itself, even after we buy the vehicle. What a dystopian! I mean, really, like
you want Spotify, you want any of that stuff, you're not going to be able to have it. Unless you're, and you know that they're going to charge you a monthly subscription. Now, here's the other thing so the average price of a car right now of a new vehicle is somewhere in the ballpark about $50,000.
Yeah.
The average car note is 700 and something. They're already too expensive. People are defaulting on loans. And we talked about this
and
before.
The economy isn't ready for an EV boom, man. It's just
it's not even the EV things. The EV market's plummeted. This is all cars in General Motors lineup. Everything.
Well, you know what I say to General Motors?
And it's just an excuse to charge you more money. Oh, dude, no. Well, yeah. It's going to be, it'll be, I hope they're smart enough to figure out that nobody's going to want this. Because I'll tell you, like, most of my vehicles have been, either a GMC truck or I have Camaros and stuff like that. I usually buy GM. I'm not going to pay you a monthly subscription to listen to Spotify. No, you can kind of go fuck yourself. I'll go drive I'll drive a Hyundai before. Not that there's anything wrong with Hyundai if you drive a Hyundai, but it's just not my jam. I buy a Ford. I've never owned a Ford in my life. I would buy one in a heartbeat if that was the case.
I've owned several.
Yeah, I'm
But
aware.
there is one spot that it could be interesting to work in that service-based subscription. Packaging for leases. You get a 3-year
Okay.
lease, all the bells and whistles come with it, $4.99.
And then you get that with it for free.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, you know what I mean? Or like $4.49 a month, and that includes all that other stuff too.
Well, but the point being is that I have all of this stuff on my phone.
Oh yeah, I don't want
your
no.
I don't want your app.
No. What I think now, here's something wild. Imagine if Apple and imagine if Android decided to build their own cars, and all you had to do was plug your phone in and everything ran off it. Like, I mean, for the technology package, like there's a spot that you actually plug your phone in, and it's your phone. You just can't watch video. And
I mean, that's what's the difference. There's not a huge difference between that and CarPlay.
No, but I'm saying like,
I wasn't sure.
CarPlay is cool, but no, I'm saying like building their cars that actually have it, that are driven, like turn on, like everything through. I don't know. Kind of computer-based cars, like like the Google. Have you seen the Google car at all?
Yeah, that's not gonna. It's.
I love the idea of being able to drive down the road. I do this with my CarPlay though, so I can't really say much. But like, hey Google, I love that. Like, I don't even have to press a button. I just say, hey Google. It comes from my radio. Like, stuff's good.
It's real hard to break into
stupid Siri.
Ouch. So
you're either one of two people. You're either an iPhone user or you're an Android user. I hate the iPhone. Hate the iPhone.
I don't hate Android. I don't think about it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't feel some kind of way. So the other thing I wanted to ask you if you had seen is, have you seen that? This is the one that really, it's not as big of a deal as the Android Auto CarPlay thing. That's huge. That's going to be a monumental.
That's going to be a weird market shift, man. Like
that's not going to be.
That might be a way to kill a section of GM. I'm not sure, but
So, have you seen that? Cadillac is now a Formula One of the manufacturers in Formula One for the 2026 season.
Yeah.
They're doing this like they mean it.
Oh yeah.
This isn't
they're
some
not getting
little,
into
we're going to dip our
toes. No, they're going deep.
But you look at a lot of these manufacturers, they're not willing. One, they fought. It's Mario Andretti is the one who's kind of been trying to start this additional team in Formula One, and got GM after 3 years of Formula One telling him, go pound sand. We're not adding another team because, nobody wants to split the money that way. So finally GM entered in, backed him, took a partnership role and have put a bunch of funding into it, which is fantastic. But here's the thing that I question. So it's Cadillac Formula One. They are buying their engines and transmissions right now from Ferrari, which makes sense because, that's drivetrain's the hardest thing to develop and engineer. So with the plan, they're building a engine facility, I think in North Carolina is their engine facility would be there, with the plan for, I think in 3 seasons to be a manufacturer for engines and transmissions. But that's the only thing. They're everything else is designed and bespoke to them. But the thing that I think is really interesting is, what are you doing?
Who?
You.
I'm not doing anything.
You're tapping.
I wasn't.
Mouse?
No, nothing.
Something. I can hear you.
I wasn't. That's the crazy part. I didn't do anything.
All right.
That's why I'm like bugging, dude. I'm literally, look, I'm not even at my desk.
So they're going to be building their own engines, building their own transmissions, which is wild. Because that's not something that's happened for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes.
So they're
And
going to
that's
try to
about
enter
it.
the engine market in the Formula One. That's going to be
Yeah,
very
like,
interesting.
they want to build the entire car. And
I
the
mean, why
weird
can't
thing
they?
is, well, no, they absolutely can't. This is one of the largest car manufacturers. But here's the thing I don't get, and I'm thinking about this. I'm going, okay, one of the big parts of Formula One, the NASCAR adage, win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the whole idea. I saw the Charger win the Daytona 500, so I'll go buy a Charger. Not so much now, but back in the 60s
Right.
when when they were real stock cars. So, but it's still the same idea. You're bringing attention to the brand in the hopes of pulling in a new audience. I don't know if you've looked at Cadillac's lineup. I'm not sure who's
They're going to have to.
You know what? You know what? That crossover SUV, they won Formula One, so I bet that is a motivated unit.
I know. So they're going to have to create a muscle car in America, probably, or some kind of.
Well,
they're going to have to come up with some line of something.
Well, they've had, they've got the Black Wings. They've got two performance-based cars, but my understanding, I don't think they're planning to continue them past this last production run.
And it's not going to be a huge draw based off Formula One. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and maybe they're trying to build some market share in Europe for GM, especially considering
I could see that, considering
the changes in tariffs and that sort of stuff, making U.S. cars maybe more attractive now as far as a purchase. But I was just, those are a couple of things I wanted to mention.
Now my turn to see if you saw something. I think this is one of the, me, I think that Donald Trump, he's but he's my, and I appreciate the hell out of him. And I think he's got some really good economic policies. I think that are going to pay dividends now and in the future. Have you seen the stuff about the Trump accounts? Incredible.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier. I was editing videos. I hadn't seen it yet, but
incredible, man. $1,000 deposit for kids born, this year through, December 31st of 2028.
And that's going to carry on.
Oh, yeah, it's going to continue. It's got bipartisan support.
Yeah.
You can't access it till you're 18. It's based on market return. It's got to be invested in an account. Your parents could fund it up to $5,000 a year. I got to tell you, man.
I love that you can have that your employer can.
Yeah, that $2,500, man. So really, if you fund it $5,000, if you were to do that for your daughter, $5,000, you're putting $7,500 a year in, most likely, if your employer has that benefit, which I would assume a lot of employers are going to pick up because it's going to be a major tax break for them, or else they wouldn't present it. Might take a little while to trickle to the benefit side of things, but even still,
and again, it's an instant $1,000 per child. Dumped into the market.
To me, it's so impressive because you can only pull the money out after retirement age, unless it's for school. You can pull it out for like higher education, which helps with the student loan debt, helps you with down payments on a house. So it's incredible, man. Incredible. I'm so impressed.
Is this the big? What do you think here? Do you think this is the beginning of the removal of Social Security?
I do.
That's what this is.
I do.
I think this is.
I think it is. I think it's also the beginning of the because it's gonna eventually tariffs are gonna fund these deposits. I guarantee it, because you think about the tariff overages. But I also think that, he wants to do away with income tax. I just think that it's also going to help eliminate student loan debt. The idea that you can, at 18, access the ability to pay for your education and not go to the government and rely on these, loans and everything else. I got to tell you, man, it's crazy to me that he won't even be alive to realize this, but our kids are going to have this, dude. This is incredible. This is one of those things that I think it's so forward thinking and such an actual thing that will fix things now and later. I'm just excited. I thought it was a great investment.
It's a good move. I like it. we're 35 minutes into this, and apparently we're not very motivated to talk about motivation.
We're gonna get there. Well, I mean, how long do we have to go on motivation? Really? I mean, I'm gonna talk about what motivates me. You're gonna talk about what motivates you. I know what motivates you already. It's big, beautiful women. No, I'm joking. You'll have to edit that out. I was gonna say, but I couldn't say that. Dude, you can clip it. We're good. Keep going.
I'm not worried about clipping it. I'll just bleep it out or
No,
whatever.
cut it.
No.
Yes. Oh, dude, I'm gonna
so what
mess.
do you think?
No, but seriously, tell me that's not cool. I mean, like,
no, it is cool. I like I say, I think it's a great thing. I think it's forward thinking, and you know, the fact that it has, how could it not have bipartisan support? Yeah, so that's
someone's
good.
actually doing
Good.
something,
I like
man.
it.
It's kind of nice to see some stuff, like new ideas. You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely a new
absolutely.
idea. And like the sovereign wealth fund, you know, like that's going to be a
Mhm.
great thing that grows for our country too. So I think we're setting up to prosper a little bit. You know, and hopefully that continues. But so motivation. So, what is your motivation for getting up in the morning, Sterling? Like, what motivates you when your eyes open to put your feet on the ground, go to work, do the stuff you have to do as the leader of your household?
Mostly the fear of homelessness. No, so
I feel like
you know,
that was a shot across the bow because you know it. Oh man.
No, a lot of it's for me at this point, getting up and going to work, it doesn't take much motivation for me to get up and do that. That's pretty, like I am lucky enough that I have a job that I at least, you know, I don't think
Donate.
anybody. Well, you know, unless you are at the end of the day, a job is a job, and it's a thing that you have to
Yeah.
do. And I don't think there's anybody who's like, I love my job every single day I go there, but I like my job.
Nobody wants to do things
I
they
don't.
have to do, dude. Like,
Right.
really. Yeah.
You know, you could always think of something you'd rather do than go to work, but you
Yeah,
got to
make a
stay
podcast with
motivated
your
to do
best
it.
friend and lifelong battle buddy.
Mhm.
I'd much rather do that than go to
So,
work.
but you know, I have people that rely on me, so I want a better life for myself, them, all that good stuff. So that portion of the motivation is easy. I think the harder thing, getting up and going to work, I don't think is that difficult. I think it's the doing the extra stuff. It's the going above and beyond. We've talked about this before, the being comfortable being uncomfortable. So it's the, I'm going to work overtime. I'm going to get a second job because because for whatever reason, I need this extra money. I'm going to, I don't know, uh, I'm going to do all the landscaping at my home on my own because I want it done. I want to increase my property value, but I can't in good conscience pay somebody to do it for me. So I'm going to do it myself. You know, that sort of thing. That's the extra stuff. That's the stuff I think that's the most important. What
It's
about
so
you?
funny. Well, it's so funny when I talk to you about like motivation, and you and I've talked about this in depth a lot over the years. I, a lot of people have a motivation of, I have a goal, I want to accomplish it, I want to get this done. My motivation in life is a fear-based motivation. Might not be healthy. I don't know. It really is, you know. I depends on how you look at it because it drives me to get up and do what I got to do all the time and to go further and do things that, you know, that and to choose to do things that better my situation and better my life. But that fear is just, you know, hey, I don't want to lose stuff. I just want to go. You know, I want to do a good job. I want to keep what I have, and I want my family to have a good life. And so because of that, you know, my motivation is I just don't want to lose what already got, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
just different approach, I think, you know, I certainly don't look at the glasses being half empty or whatever, or half full, or however you want to say it. I'm kind of middle of the road in that regard. But I just think that being motivated out of fear drives me to do more, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you this: do you think that you would be as successful as you are if it wasn't for, and let me preface this by saying, I'm not saying you had the world's roughest childhood,
Yeah.
but you did have a rougher childhood, and
Yeah.
you did,
Oh, yeah.
there.
Listen, dude,
I
I'll finish
do
your
you think if
thought
it
for
wasn't
you.
for that, would you
Your
have
thought for you, okay?
okay?
Because I know what you're trying to do, and sorry, Mom, I love you, and he loves you too. You
Yeah.
did the best you could with what you had. But regardless, um, I think there's a couple of different ways of looking at life. And I think one of them is like you. Your parents were married, they did a good job, they raised you, you had a loving house, like there was stability, which I think is the most, and consistency, which are the most important things to raising children, in my opinion. Uh,
Hmm.
but you learned what to do. I learned what not to do.
Hmm.
And so I don't know if that makes sense. So I just kind of do the opposite of what I watched.
Yeah, well, and that's that's one of
And
those
she
things I think
knows
you can
that,
go.
though. She knows that. She did the best she could, man. I'll be the first one to tell you guys. Like, seriously, my mom had me at 17. My mom and dad were never married. My mom did the best she could, you know. But we kind of grew up together, and so I don't fault her for any of that. That was her stuff, and it taught me how to be who I am and what I want in life, and it motivates me every day because I just want to do better, you know. So
Hmm. Yeah, I just wonder. I feel like there's two ways that can go. It can be, I've seen this as the example. It's the and intrinsically, because this is how everything was modeled for me. This is how I'm going to be. And then there's you, where you tend to use that as more of a motivator for you, knowing how life could be if you weren't so highly,
yeah. Well,
you know.
like, but don't get me wrong, there's other sides of this. Like, I've watched my siblings at times be extremely codependent on my mother because my mother was extremely codependent on my grandmother because,
Hmm.
she was young, right? And
Sure.
so I watched a lot of that codependency. I just learned very quickly, like, I'm very dependent on my wife. I love my wife, but I'm not codependent on her to take care of our family. I'm codependent on
Hmm.
her to help me raise my child, to help take care of our household, to, pay bill, like, but at the end of the day, I'm a very independently motivated person without that codependency, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Dude, I'm gonna go ahead and say something. I wish that the viewers could see this right now. Your camera just did something really crazy on my screen. It just did it again. And it looks like one of those terrorist videos where you're sitting in a chair and the video's all grainy. I don't know, man. It's the craziest thing. You look very
I
like
think it's just it's just a bandwidth thing. Yours does it every
no,
once in a while too.
I got you. It just went like full terrorist grain. It was kind of weird, man. Like you're in a mountain somewhere, like taking a video. Oh man,
Well, if you see my head come off, you know what happened.
I got nothing. So,
You got
so
nothing on? Okay.
motivation, motivation.
Hmm.
I think that for you people listening, if I could give you one piece of advice about staying motivated and how to stay motivated, don't it's great to have long-term goals. It's great to have short-term goals. It's great to have middle of the road goals, just live every day. If you just get up every day and you just kind of, it sounds stupid, but seize the day, get your opportunities. There's days I could do better. There's days I could do a lot better than what I do. But if you just show up, you put a little effort in, life's gonna be pretty good, man.
Yeah, I it's motivation. I think you have to. There has to be some kind of hardship for you. I think for most people. Most people don't,
I wouldn't call it a hardship, I'd call it a
especially.
struggle. I'd call
Well,
it
yeah, you
more of a
got to
struggle
struggle
than
a
a
little bit. I
hardship.
think if
Because
you
you
don't
grow
have a
through
little bit of
struggle.
struggle, I can
Well,
remember taking a shower with dish soap. That always sticks in my head. You know, like taking a
here's
shower,
one for you.
I'm out in the world, newly to it, broke as a joke. Always had money for beer and cigarettes though.
Well,
Could
think
always
about
go
this,
out
dude.
drinking.
Of course. I mean, we were young and dumb, I mean, we had
Priorities.
to be. And priorities, man. Alcohol was food. And cigarettes was you know, just something we did.
Life.
It was
We used
life.
to-
Everybody
my roommate
smoked
used
back
to
then.
say,
Don't judge us.
I-
All of us smoked.
my roommate used to say, he's like, I love cigarettes so much. My mom, she's right here. And cigarettes, they're right.
Oh my god, dude! So
Uh,
here's the thing for you, kind of about like motivation and what you were just saying a second ago, and like the examples and the
uh,
struggles and stuff. One of the hardest things to do, and I think it's gotten softer with every generation, is to let our kids fail. And so I think that you see a lack of motivation in this particular generation at times, at what is perceived as a lack of motivation because they
mhm.
haven't struggled, because their parents bail them out more. Same thing with like participation trophies in sports or earning something, or
Okay.
there's a lot of I mean, let's face it, dude, when we were kids, if we wanted something, we went and got it. Whether our parents gave us the money or not, we figured out a way to get it. You know what I mean? And so I just
Let
think
me ask
that
you this.
now everything's given to people.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it's that they don't fail or that nobody maybe takes them to the carpet for failing? Like nobody makes it a big
Oh,
deal. It's like,
both.
oh, well,
Oh,
you know
both.
what?
It's
You
not just
didn't win, but that's okay. It's all about how you played the game and that you had fun with your friends. When in reality, life is a competition.
That's
You
both,
know
dude.
that. I
It's
know that.
both.
It's a
I
competition.
say this.
You're competing against everybody
It's
else in the
both.
job market. You know.
It's both. And I say this all the time, and people disagree with me. That's fine. There is a transition from within raising children where you have to flip the switch and start raising an adult.
Hmm.
And, I think
Sure.
every age is a little bit different. I think it based on maturity, but if you keep treating your kid like a kid, the world is going to just kick their ass. And at some point, you got to treat your kid like an adult. Give you a perfect example. My daughter, she's going to be a teenager in April. She has gone through some womanly changes. I do not let her use that as an excuse to treat me poorly. I do not let her use as an excuse to not do what she's supposed to do, because if she's
Hmm.
going to be a productive member of society when she's older, she's not gonna be able to call her boss and say, "Hey, I have my woman time of the month. I can't come in." That's not how life works. So I just, I
Yeah,
just want to,
I hear you. Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
Sorry, women.
all right.
You guys are
So,
much, much loved, women. I love you to death. I'm not belittling what you go through. I appreciate what y'all go through. It's just an example of one of the things that I try to tell my daughter that a boss isn't gonna accept. That's all.
well, and it's true, and there's not going to be, if the report is due on Monday, you can't go, well, I didn't get it done because was that time of the
Blah blah
month
blah.
on
Yeah.
flow, blah blah blah. No, and especially if your boss is a woman, because they go through the same things and they manage to do it. So yeah, that's it's interesting. Motivation.
Motivation.
I'm
I don't even know if
motivated.
I'm
I'm
motivated to
motivated to.
scratch this episode. No, I'm just joking. It's been
Oh,
great though, man. I've had
been a
fun.
good.
No, I've had fun talking about it. I think the big thing with what we're trying to do on a week to week basis is just kind of choose a word and topic, so to speak, and just kind of talk about it, what it means to us. But guys, it's really just about putting some feelers out there, some food for thought, some things to make you think a little bit, make you understand that, listen, you're not alone in how you feel. There's times that you sit with your guy friends and you'll never talk about how everybody feels, or what's going on or what's real to them. And you and I spend a lot of time, Sterling, just talking about how life makes us feel, and like, do we feel like it's because of this, or do we feel like it's because of that? And and a lot of times it shifts our view on how we handle situations. So I just think that, if nothing else, when you're listening to us, just know that none of what we say is gospel in any way. It's more of just a food for thought for you guys.
So I'm going to bring up something, and let's see what your thoughts are.
Okay.
So as we talk about motivation, and we're talking about our own motivation, I think about, you know, what about the guys that are walking the path behind us, what about those guys that are just coming up, and how do they, one, become motivated, and two, stay motivated? Because you've got, what, 60
Oh, that generation's a
60-ish.
lost cause. I'm
Oh,
joking.
that 60% of college attendees are women. 68%
Yeah.
of graduates are women. And, you know, at the end of the day, how do you, in a world that is so dramatically changing for good or for ill, to one that has been putting men on the back seat and masculinity on the hot seat. How there's a lot of guys out there that I feel like are just choosing not to play the game, and especially when you look at the playing field isn't exactly level anymore, and there's a
Well,
lot of people that
the
probably
world's
want it
telling
to
them
be
that they
like that.
shouldn't play the game. There's a lot of the world telling
Well,
them they
and they're
shouldn't even
choosing to
bother playing
opt
the
out.
game.
There's a lot of them that are choosing to opt out, and it's not good for them. We've had discussions
So,
previously about, like having a purpose and what that
yeah,
means and how to be successful, use it, and how do you get these guys motivated to
here's
to
what I'll say.
participate?
You know, it's going to sound kind of rough when I say it this way, but I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I think people just need to worry about themselves. Stop worrying about the women getting this, and I think that the world tells us so much what we should worry about that you almost have to tune out the noise. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think, stop listening. Stop listening to people tell you that you can't go do this because you're a guy, or you can't go do that because you're a guy, or, the statistics that Sterling just spewed a second ago. Don't listen to that. Like, really, don't listen to that shit. At the end of the day, if men just do what men do and have always done, we're going to be fine. And you're going to be
But
fine.
here's the thing.
But you got to be
Yeah, but here's the
willing
thing.
to tune out the noise.
But here's the thing, man. Okay, so you look at what we grew up with and what the societal expectations were and what the
There wasn't a
examples that
lot
were
of
set
hope
in
for
front
us,
of you
dude.
were.
We drank out of water hoses and water fountains. And
But
there was no hope,
this is
dude.
what I
Like, they
mean.
didn't know anything when we were kids. Now everything's been dated to death. That, like the study shows that
But this
this and the
is
studies show that.
but you can say tune out that noise, but
Yeah.
it's more just giving you an example of you can't. I don't think you can. You can't play a game that you don't know the rules to. If you
Well, and
don't know the
that's
intricacies of the game, you can't play it.
the
That's what
problem
makes you
too, though, right?
successful.
Yeah, but dude, there's a correlation in all this. There's a correlation in all this, and it's when the man is at the head of his household, running his home, then the next generation sees it and they
Mm-hmm.
do it again. That's why you
Mm-hmm.
do it. I watched my dad do it,
Mm-hmm.
even though I didn't live with him. I watched what he did and so I say that to say that some people, like, I think you have to fix the nuclear family before you can fix anything else.
How do you fix it?
I, how do you
This
fix
is
it?
this is what I'm
Tell
saying.
people dude, honestly, like, one of the things that I was thinking about the other day, I think if you get married to somebody, I think
Mm-hmm.
marriage should be, it's like, all right, it's like this. If I go missing tomorrow, how long do I have to be missing before I'm declared dead?
What, like
7 years.
a month?
7 years.
7 years?
7
Okay,
years.
it's
Okay.
wild, but all right.
So if I live with Tara and I'm not married to her
Mm-hmm.
and we live together, I am eventually common law married to her because I've lived with her for X amount of years.
Depends on the
Okay.
state, but sure.
But yes, in a lot of states. I think that marriage has become this loose-lit term that nobody actually appreciates. anymore, and the sanctity of it has been under fire for a long time. And I think that, you know what, if you're going to enter into a marriage decree with somebody, I think that you should have to buy out to the state if you get a divorce early. Like, I literally think you should have to be married a certain number of years, because I think we have to force people to work through their versus quitting on it, because a lot of
Well, and
people
then, you
just
know, here's the
quit
thing.
and they could have been fine. There's plenty of times that Tara and I could have walked away from our marriage, but look at
Yeah.
everything around us now, right? Like, so my point is, make it, if it is a serious commitment, you either have to buy out of your marriage for every year that you didn't do, both parties. You have to pay a penalty if you cheat on your spouse. I think that there needs to be some repercussions. Divorce has become like the flavor of the day, man. Like, hey, Sterl, I don't like you, man. I want to get a divorce. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go marry this person now. Oh, wait, I don't like her. I'm gonna marry.
Well, now I think you got to remember too, 80% of divorces are initiated by women.
I know. Penalize them all.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't penalize women. I'm saying make it so that marriage isn't entered into with the knowledge that you, or with the outcome of, well, if it doesn't work, I can just get a divorce. No, I've got some skin in the game, and it's going to hurt me if I get a divorce.
So now
I think it should be a financial contract.
So how do you keep people getting married in the first place? Marriage rates are already low.
Yeah.
Birth rates are low. Marriage rates are low.
You're going to see, I think you're going to see in the next 5 years a rise in the marriage rates anyway, because you're seeing, let's face it, dude, one of the big things that you see and in this generation is, at least in America, you're seeing a swing towards Christianity. It's the fastest growing generation, and they're calling it somewhat of a Jesus revival in a lot of circles. And what is the core of a lot of Christianity? It's the nuclear household. It's the man and woman reproducing. And I think that you're just going to naturally see a shift. People at a younger age are not going out drinking anymore. They're respecting their bodies a little bit more. There's been a focal shift. And I think that as such, I think you might not see people get married at 23 or 18 as much, but you might see people getting married at 26 to 28, a lot more. I think it's coming, man.
I'm gonna argue with you about one of those things.
We can argue about it all day, buddy.
I don't think that people not going out and drinking is a good thing.
I think it's well, okay. I understand why.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because, it's okay. So I'm gonna put this out there, all right?
It's desocialization. I get it.
Well, it's not just desocialization; it's attention. So you think about this. Put yourself back in the put yourself back in the 80s. You're a good-looking woman. You are a good-looking woman, by the way.
Thank you, Fuzzy.
So okay, you're an attractive woman, and let's be honest. Everybody enjoys a little attention.
Yeah, everybody loves an overweight bearded woman, dude.
So you like a little bit of attention. Everybody likes a little bit of attention. They like some validation, being told that you're good looking. You like, and women like male attention. That's just for the most part, they do. So to get that male attention, you've got to go to school dance, got to go to a bar, you got to go out in public, and then now there's this shift where you can get that validation and attention by posting a picture on Instagram that you doctored up using some AI stuff, and now you've gone from a 4 to a 10, and that you're getting that attention and that validation from people that you don't live around. You don't have to leave the comfort of your home. And we've talked about this before. When you look at like these dating apps and stuff, 20% of the dudes are getting 80% of the attention, and which isn't good for men or for women, because 80% of the guys don't exist.
I hear you, but removing
80% of the women are fighting over the same 20% of guys. So
I hear you.
How do you reconcile these
died
things?
Down. I hear you.
I'm just saying. I think it would be better if people.
I get it, but I also think it's a good thing that people aren't lowering their inhibitions and going out drinking and sleeping with this one and that one and bed hopping as much. I think that's important.
But they're bed hopping more now, especially.
Yeah.
So it's worse now than it was before because
But
you
there's a
go
shift
out, you
now.
go out
The
drinking.
fastest growing, like I said, man, I'm talking at it from a nuclear family Christianity standpoint. There is a sector of people who there's a fast growing pace and flow to religion right now, and to Christianity. And I think, not drinking and finding people to spend time with, maybe at church. You don't find God without going to church usually, right? Like, you
Well,
don't
and I'm
find him on
not
a
saying
bar
these things
stool.
are
You're
not
not finding him on
mutually.
your couch. No, I know,
These things
but
are
I'm
not
just saying.
mutually exclusive. I'm just saying I would rather see people in general. I'm not saying that this is the only way to go about it, but
Yeah, no, I know.
I would
I
rather see
know.
people in general go make interpersonal connections with people in
Yeah, but
real
okay, but
life
here's a weird thing.
than
Do you know the
on.
fastest growing thing? You know what the fastest growing thing in America is right now? One of like the top 5 fastest growing like event things? Pickleball. There are so many pickleball clubs showing up and people hanging out and playing
Yeah.
pickleball, and you're seeing more of a return. I think COVID.
What demographic
I
is
think
that? Because I feel like it's millennials and we're old, bro.
I know, but I feel like there was a hangover from COVID where people were like, "Can I go out? Can I see that person? Can I do this? Should I touch it? Can I maybe?" And then now all of a sudden you're seeing the gyms are booming again. The extracurriculars, pickleball is growing. You're around here, you're seeing indoor golf leagues booming, and bowling leagues take off. And so I think there is still socialization. I just think alcohol sales aren't the primary thing anymore. I'll tell you, for me, dude, I don't want to go out and drink most of the time anymore. It's just not a thing. But I'm also, again, old.
We're old.
So
yeah, like I say, I'm not looking at it as this is the only way to do it. I'm just looking at it more as, is this a symptom of people spending more time online and on social media than going out and meeting people in the real world and developing those relationships with people around
you
them.
say that, but then you hear every day about people in America meeting someone, I don't know, Australia or England, and then they meet up and they have a great relationship, they get married and they fall, and have babies. So I think that it's expanded the world that we live in and access to the world we live in.
Sure. I think
I don't like the dating apps as much. I think that kind of, God,
and
that would scare me.
therein
If I
lies
was
the
a
problem.
single man on the market, I wouldn't go to a dating app. I'd probably try to go to a church.
I think the part of the problem is,
although the best place is
we
grief groups, man. If you go to if you go to the grief groups, that's usually the best place to meet somebody.
That's dark. But like I say,
Trauma bonding, buddy. Trauma bonding.
I worry that there is a whole large percentage of young men who are getting left behind when it comes to dating and meeting women. And these apps aren't good. They're not good for anybody. I don't think that they're good for anybody. So here, not
you know where the apps are worse for anybody? The worst part in the apps is expectation. You expect, I meet you online, we have a conversation, I expect you're going to be this way, I see you, you're not that way.
Well, here's the problem.
And there's no bonding in that. People lie so much
Most
online.
of the time, there's not. Most of the time, people don't meet anybody anyways. For a lot of guys, I was talking to somebody at work, and I after my separation, I got on dating apps for a little bit. I gave it the old college try, and I was telling the guy, I went on a few dates. It wasn't really. I did end up dating somebody from it for a while, and they, but. I went on a few dates and most of them weren't that good, and it was okay.
Yeah, but in the world of ranking dating apps, I probably would have chose Facebook.
Hold on. Now, here's the thing. This dude I was talking to about it, he's like, "You got dates out of it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a few. Like, I was only on it for a month or two, but I got a few dates out of it." And he's like, "I haven't had any." And that's the experience for most men. The majority of men are, you can, I think it's Tinder. Women can collate their matches by, or choose to use height as an exclusion for people that even show up for them. So
women want the sixes, dude. We've been saying this for years. I get it. In the algorithm,
but here's
they
the
want
thing.
the sixes.
They want the sixes, but there aren't enough sixes out there for women to match up with women that want the sixes.
The problem is the sixes where you're at. The sixes want sixes, and that's weird. That doesn't work.
Everywhere.
Tens need sixes.
That's everywhere, though, Jordan. That is everywhere.
I know.
These women want 6 feet tall, 6-figure salary, and
6-inch hands.
But it's true though. And and if you are somebody who has those things, you get choice. You
have access to 80% of the
matches,
women.
and you get choice, and you get access. And if you don't have those things, because the majority of men do not, then if you're you don't get access, and you don't get matches, and all this stuff. And that's why I say your point to meeting your partner at church, I think that's fantastic, because you've met somebody you've met a woman in a safe space, in a community. There's people there who vouch for you as a person because they are willing to interact with you, and it gives you it gives a guy in that situation the opportunity to show all of these great values that they may have that you can't see on a phone. Screen on your phone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I worry about it a little bit, and I worry that.
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, pretty soon we're gonna be hanging out together on holograms. Like, I'm gonna be walking through your house, having dinner with you at your table somehow. You know what I mean? Like,
I just
nobody's
worry
gonna be
about it.
together. It's gonna be digitized, but.
And you know how I feel about religion. It's not my thing, but boy, I would love to see these 18, 16 to 25-year-old men and women. If that's what brings them together, then so be it, dude. I really think that more people need to touch grass, and especially in terms of developing relationships.
But you also got to think too, like,
they need to go
college, man. College is a place that you're gonna do that. You're gonna do that together. You know what I mean?
But 70% of the people going to college are women.
Well, because we have a need for men and women in trades, and I think that men are better suited for the trades and women are better suited for, everyday jobs. I just think, there's a lot of, and that's not a knock to women in the trades. I think women do a great job in trades. That's not to say they can't. I just think men are more inclined to lean towards trades at times.
Sure.
Hands-on
well,
work.
And men like stuff and women like people, generally speaking, on the aggregate, over the whole. You may be an outlier, and that's okay. But that's the reality. The hard sciences tend to lean towards men. Soft sciences tend to lean towards women. Those are okay things. It's okay that actually.
It's okay that we are physiologically different.
It's okay that we like different things. And if you. But regardless,
just so everybody knows, it doesn't have to be a black and white thing. Okay.
It doesn't. It can be people are on a spectrum, and you're very much on the spectrum.
I know. I'm on that one.
So we've rocked this for an hour and 10 minutes. We sort of talked about motivation. I feel like we're
going to wrap, but I got one last thing I want to talk to you about.
All right.
One last thing, and we'll make it quick. I just want to know what our next episode should be on. What do you think?
I don't know, Jordan. Should we be asking the people watching?
That's kind of what I was thinking, is maybe we should drop a poll on our TikTok. See if we can
do a TikTok poll.
I think we should do a TikTok poll. We should have it go live on what the episode is. I personally think that it should be about P. Diddy. I think we should do an entire episode on P. Diddy.
That sounds like a slippery slope.
It sounds like a real slippery slope. Do you think that they've allowed him to have lube?
Because he used a lot of lube?
Do you think that they allow him to have lube in prison? Or is he banned from purchasing lube now? Like when he gets out, is it like you can never buy lube again? I don't think it works that way, right? No, I don't know what our.
Well,
all right. Anyway, so no, we should do a TikTok poll, I think, and just see what's out there. Maybe some people will respond, maybe they won't. But if not, we can free ball it again. Do something fun.
I think we should. Yeah, I like the TikTok poll idea. I'm all about it. If you let us know what do you want to, what subject do you want to hear about? Give us some ideas. Maybe we can do just a straight sports episode. We could do one. We could do
Dude.
just a total
Let's talk LeBron. Episode. Let's talk LeBron versus MJ and GOAT.
Oof. All right.
Who's the
GOAT?
Right, There's some good clips on that. Okay.
All right. Anyway, let's do poll.
We'll pull it up.
That's the plan.
Yep. All right. So, hey, as always, guys, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it. I know it was all over the place, as you're going to come to expect from us, because we are not afraid to go where we need to go. That's why you can email us at dudefinity and beyond, because it's not always just about being a dude. Sometimes we go beyond the scope of what we're set out to talk about, and that's going to happen. But I just want to thank you again. I want to just remind you guys, we are here to answer any questions you have. We'll be dropping weekly episodes. Lastly, stay a dude. Stay an absolute dude.
I'm the king of my driveway, mowing lines so straight. Got a toolbox full of glory and a mortgage by the plate.